meetings to order. Just a note to everybody, we're having some issues with Facebook and some IT issues, so this will not be live, but it will be recorded and available on our website tomorrow.
Yeah, it should go on YouTube, and we'll share it on Facebook.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. All right, starting off, Development Services Committee, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. One of the items that we've been discussing, and we brought it up at the last meeting, had to do with the City of Stephenville Home Improvement Incentive Program. At that time, the committee, you all asked that, or agreed that we bring back and some possible changes to it. It has had very little activity over the years since it was done. Part of that might be the fact of the limitations in it. And so, Steve, I'm going to ask you to come up on a couple of those things. There is, and we've got some notes here in it, and there are some minor changes that are typically have to do with wordsmithing, I think. In the second paragraph, it's improving rather than increasing the quality of life for the citizens of Stephenville and the neighborhoods. The whole purpose of Home Improvement Incentive Program is to encourage homeowners to make improvements to single-family residences and properties. And the goal was preventing blight, improving property values, and inspiring the surrounding homeowners to reinvest. One of the things was
Listed in Stephenville that are below that threshold. Not a huge number, but enough that I think if we had people actually apply for this, that we could put these funds to good use and accomplish the goals of the program.
Again, this particular program has got about a $25,000 annual amount attached to it
That is correct,
for
yes, sir.
usage. And in addition to the 250,000 or 200,000 as it is now, 250,000 proposed as a qualifying deal, this would other qualifying projects. The incentive is approximately 5%. A rebate, is that not correct? On the
5%
home improvement cost.
That is correct. 5% rebate with a maximum, it caps at $5,000 per project.
But additionally to that, there are a waiver of residential remodeling building permit fees, which
Correct.
can be significant,
Yes, sir.
as well as the city will repair and replace sidewalks in public right-of-ways for participating properties in this, correct?
Yes, sir, based on the assessment of the condition of the existing. Eight are actually repairs that fall within the criteria established and listed as qualifying repairs.
And part of those repairs have to be the exterior of the building, and it can be garage, it can be doors, it can be windows, as long as you've got a certain percentage of those.
Specifically, $10,000 of the project has to be directed to the exterior of the project.
And a $20,000 minimum.
Forward to the council with a favorable recommendation. Second item on our agenda is contract with Jacob and Martin for professional services for the design of the sidewalk and lighting improvements along West Tarleton from McElhaney to Clinton. We've discussed part of this in the past about trying to improve that corridor from the Tarleton campus all the way down to the Bosque River Trail. This is the first section of that we thought we might be able to take care of, at least in the beginning, and just move section by section on down towards that. Tarleton has agreed to participate or potentially participate in a part of this project. Jacob and Martin has come through with a bid not to exceed $93,500 for their design, and they will provide that in 5-month time for us to be able to go ahead and move forward with this. Once we have the design in hand, we can put it out for bids and see what the actual cost will be. They estimate $670,000. The monies for this were not allocated in the 24-25 budget, but we will be able to fund this out of the pavement management budget, the 93.5, and then if we elect to go forward with whatever the construction cost is, we will need to incorporate that into the budget for 25-26. Jacob and Martin came out as a recommendation from the evaluation committee to be the proper company to do this, and so we have a professional service agreement with them that is a part of your packet if you have looked at it to do this work. Any comments or questions on that?
So you said Tarleton might be,
We-
or are they,
We've discussed it with them.
Okay.
Because this will benefit them in making it a more walkable community for us and for the Tarleton students. Hopefully connect to downtown and ultimately to the Bosque River Trail.
If members of the council will remember, Dave actually spoken to y'all about the project here in this meeting and have talked about contributing to this project. And so now as we go into design work, then we'll have kind of nail down what those specific numbers and percentages will be.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make the motion that we send the professional services agreement with J&M for $93,500 to council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Both of these will go forward to council with a positive recommendation. Thank you, and Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that concludes my report.
Well, thank you, sir. And with that being said, it is 5:52, and I'm going to adjourn us from the City of Stephenville committee meetings. And now, if I can get my iPad to work here, apologize. It is 5:52, and I will call this City of Stephenville special council meeting to order. First item on the agenda. Alright, I just got this. Okay. Alright, so, a petition has been filed protesting the issuance of the COs that the city secretary has determined that the petition is valid, and state laws provides that the city council is not authorized to adopt an ordinance authorizing the issuance of COs unless the COs are authorized at an election. All right. Item 2. Yes,
We gonna discuss these?
I'm about to.
Okay.
So, the item 2 is considered termination of notice of intent of issuance of certificate of obligation. I would open the council for discussions.
Well, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I have some questions. One, and I'll direct this at Jason. With regard to taking this to a vote, which is one of the options, but it's my understanding that either way, just by the petition alone, it puts us into the 3-year period that you cannot borrow dollars or borrow money if, unless you have a public vote to do so. Is that correct on any streets in Stephenville?
Yes, sir, I would go with that because it was a broadly worded, on the notice to issue the street projects. We didn't have any defined streets at the time. We were just looking at amounts and versus needs and those things. So yes, the way it was written, yes, if you wanted to issue debt money for any particular street project.
It could not be done
Correct,
without a
3
public
years.
vote.
Correct.
For 3 years,
correct.
okay.
I mean, I didn't specifically ask bond counsel that, but I think he's gonna agree with me on that because of how, the notice was worded.
Okay. So that would come back and mean that, so the petition was to have a public vote. So either we have a public vote at some point to do this, or we just have potholes, right?
So-
I'm making it very simple.
Yes, sir. So, yes, if council would have two election options, one would be a vote to issue COs or a election to do general obligation bonds, for specific projects. Either one of those, the earliest would be on a November ballot.
When would we have to make a decision with regard
It'll-
to the November ballot?
It will be in August. I haven't looked up a specific date, but I'm,
Yeah, you can't issue the notice of election 90 days prior, so it would be like the middle of August.
right.
Middle of August.
And then as far as your pothole comment, if council will remember, in previous years, there'd been a budget policy that 8% of the property tax revenue to the general fund, 8% of the sales tax revenue was peeled off and set aside for street improvements. That was roughly around $1.2 million. Last year, mid-year, we elected to move into that fund to authorize salary increases, with the larger percentage being in public safety. And then as we rolled into this year and people moved to their next steps, budget-wise, that was about 1.2 million. We were able to offset that sum. There was, with you guys going with the voter approval rate, it was about $400,000 in new revenue, property tax-wise, but sales tax revenue was flat this year. So that used 800,000 basically of that 1.2, and we've put about 400 into street maintenance this year. So I think we'll have some interesting discussions as we go start into budget planning here in another month or so.
Okay.
I would tell you, and you guys hear Monica's financial report, the sales tax is staying about the same. Pretty sure I know where the property tax is probably gonna land. Most of that's handled by state law and kind of the boundaries that it puts on it these days. So, yes, we'll have some interesting discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion, comments?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, do we need to take any formal action tonight on the proposal that the petition has denied?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay.
Anything else?
So so we do not have to take action
No,
with
sir, we do
regard to
not.
number 2.
I'm sorry?
So we do not have to take action in effect because the way, because of the petition, the certificate of obligation is frankly, off of the, it's off the agenda.
That's correct, and like Sarah stated, we can't do anything on the election until 90 days before.
Till
So-
November anyway.
Correct.
No, that's
So-
the last option.
The last option, correct.
Right, you can
Would
call
be-
it any time between now and then, but I would certainly recommend us do some discussion and planning and those
I
kind of
agree
things.
with you. I agree with you.
Any other discussion on the matter?
Well, just one thing, I mean, there's, this is more of a comment than anything else. The streets are gonna have to be fixed. The money's gotta come from some source. It's gonna either come from salaries, or it's gonna come from other services, or it's gonna come from something, or it's gonna come from, taxes. And there's no other way to do it. And we can live with potholes, or we can fix the streets. This is the second time the council, over the last 6 years or thereabouts, has tried to put together a program to actually get ahead of the street issues. This would only have got us about halfway of what is actually needed. That's it. There's about 40 or $45 million worth of street improvements that need to be done. So, we will go back. We've heard, we've seen, what the petition, is. You know, basically, it was signed by 550 people, correct? So 550 people, basically, we're not gonna take it to, we can't go ahead and do a vote or anything like that on this, but have determined 22,000 people's decision. And, so we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and see what we can do in order to try to come up with the dollars, or to do something so this city, so that we can improve the streets, before they get worse, and it costs a lot more money to do so. So, that's my say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. All right, we're gonna move on to the Finance Committee. So, Finance Committee, we met, about 20 minutes ago. I'm gonna go ahead and, you want me to move this to you now, or recess after you give a update that we just heard? I'll go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and recess into
There you go.
the Employees Benefits Trust meeting. I now call this Employees Benefits Trust meeting to order. First item on the agenda is discuss the employee benefits for plan year 2025-2026.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, as you heard a few minutes ago, staff is recommending that we maintain the two plans that we did last year into this next year at the same coverages, same options, continue to fund the HSAs at $1,500 a year, and continue to fund the subsidizing difference on dependent care at the HSA cost levels. With the current plan participants, that's about $80,000 difference. With budgeted positions, we think that's about 120. Both of those are absorbable at this time, and so it's staff's recommendation that we continue on that route.
Just to be clear, this will not be an increase to the employees.
No, unless you're on the copay plan and you have dependent coverage, and that was the same last year, it was a little bit higher. We funded the subsidizing at the HSA dependent cost levels, and we'll continue to do that. I think there's a difference at the copay plan levels, and so that would be on the employee.
Okay.
And then this maintains the same dental. Last year, we were able to move from $1,000 maximum to $1,500, so it'll maintain that. All the other plans stay the same.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. King? Mr. Cook? Thought you were about to say something. You good?
Yeah, I'm okay, because we're looking at about 8% overall.
Yes, sir.
And from what I see here and everything, and, you know, considering the cost of everything going up, I'm a little bit, I'm disappointed that we have to pay a lot more, but I'm surprised that we're getting it at 8%.
We, up until about mid-October, we were at 60% of benefit received to premium paid. we ended the year at about 130% hit. When I said we had a couple of large claims, we had a couple of large claims.
And we appreciate the work you did get it down from
Absolutely.
16%
Well, and
as well.
that's the team we hired, and they did what we asked them to, and they just kind of kept at it, so.
Well, that's-
Do we need to take action in this, or?
The Employee Benefits Trust, much like committee, will recommend to council to adopt the plans as presented, and then you'll come back into council and formally adopt them.
Fantastic. What's the pleasure of the trust?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move that we move forward to council with the employee benefits plan with a positive recommendation for the employee benefits plan as discussed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, I will now adjourn the Employees Benefits Trust meeting and reconvene into Finance Committee,
Special council meeting.
special council meeting. Golly, I'm sorry. We're like going into like 4 different meetings today. I will reconvene into the special council meeting. And what's the pleasure of the council on the approval of employee benefits for plan year 2025-2026?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move that we approve the employee benefits for plan year 2025-2026.
I got a motion from Mr. Green, I'll second from Ms. Smith. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. On to the Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I feel like I gave this report just a moment ago.
I'm having major deja vu today, I can tell you that.
All
much.
over again, right? First item is the contract with public management. They have proposed to assist the city with the application, and if awarded and accepted, the administrative services for the CDBG grant for the downtown revitalization program. As we discussed a few minutes ago, the max award on that is $1 million this year, and the city's contribution, if we are awarded and accept, would be $50,000. Their public management's fee would be capped at $60,000 or 6% of the total funds, whichever is less. They have agreed to do this work for us and prepare and submit this application for us and on our behalf. The committee recommendation is to accept their proposal and award the contract to Public Management, Inc. to assist the city with this application for the CDBG grant for downtown revitalization. And I would make that as a motion to accept this proposal from Public Management.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Nix, a second by Mr. Cook. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda, Mr. Nix?
Next item is also an agreement for professional services. This is with Jacobs and Martin for the design of the sidewalk and lighting improvements along West Charlton from McElhaney to Clinton. This is a project that we've discussed for some time to improve the walkability of the area between the Charlton State University campus and the downtown area, and ultimately all the way to the Bosque River Trail. Their agreement to provide the drawing specifications, design layout, surveying, geotechnical work, and materials testing not to exceed sum of $93,500. That amount will be paid from our pavement maintenance budget for this year. The proposed or probable construction cost is $670,000. At some point after we have this and have the funding, if we decide to move forward with this, we will need to incorporate that amount into the budget for 25-26. That estimation would be about a 6 months completion. The professional service agreement could be completed within 5 months. The Public Works Committee brings this forward with a positive recommendation, and I would make the motion to agree to the professional services agreement with Jacobs and Martin for the design along of the sidewalk and lighting improvements along West Tarleton and for a not to exceed amount of $93,500.
Second.
Motion is made by Mr. Nix, second by Mr. Greeno. Any other discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Nix.
That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, sir. It's 6:10. I'll now recess the special city council meeting, and we're going to go into executive session. And in compliance with the provisions of Texas Open Means Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon, Texas Codes, annotated in ordinance with Section 551.071, consultation with attorney to consult over a pending or contemplated litigation. We shall return. It is 6:29, and I will reconvene the special Stephenville City Council meeting. We had no action to be taken in executive, so I will adjourn the special City Council meeting. Thank you.
See you.